Hi, Hilton here from Cant to Can, and today I've got an interview about relationships, but it's about relationships ending. I've talked to John Broadbent, author of Man Unplugged, and he shares his wisdom about what to do after a relationship has ended. He's a very clever guy, really. I think he's got a great deal to offer. This one is really important for men who, particularly if they didn't know it was going to happen, which is often the case, unfortunately. I've been there, John's been there, probably some other men have been there before, but we're talking a long-term relationship that's come to an end. That's very challenging. So, men, if you're in that situation, please watch this video. There is some very good information here. It's bound to be helpful. Thank you. Women emotionally leave first.
Yes.
Physically may leave second.
Yes.
Or last. If they physically leave, they usually will not come back.
No.
There's huge difficulty resurrecting a relationship once they've physically gone. They will emotionally leave first.
Yes. Well, they've done the grieving.
They've done the grieving. They've done the loss. They are.
Yep.
I finished with this guy. I've tried to talk to him.
Yes.
Blah blah blah.
Yes.
The point of fact is, the men are shocked, actually, at that point. They may have known there was all these signs leading up to it, which they didn't realise or appreciate at the time. But the fact is, at that point, they've gone, and the guy is devastated. He's really devastated.
Yes.
But we're talking about men that they don't have a relationship. They are dealing. What do I do? What do I do now? Everything I thought was important is gone.
Yeah. I know of an exact circumstance like that a couple of years ago where this woman that I knew came to me and said, look, I'm trying to get my husband to understand where we're at. And eventually she went, that's it, we're done.
Yes.
And she had been saying to him for 10 years, this can't continue.
Yeah.
He had an addiction which was not helping the situation, and she was trying to help him and support him through dealing with his addiction. But when it finally came, then out came the flowers and the photos on the wall and the chocolates, and it was like 10 years, almost 10 years too late. And it was tragic in a way because, anyway, I did some interviews around that time, and I approached men and women, and I said to women, one guy was a coach, but I said to women, what is it that you would like men to know?
Yeah, right.
What are the three things?
Right, yeah.
And I can't remember the other two, but I've got them written down. But the primary one out of this research, the primary thing was, I wish men would listen. Not try and fix it, not think that it's broken, but simply listen. And I think that as in a relationship, one of the healthiest things we can do is make an effort, and it's not about date nights, it's about making an effort to regularly check in to the relationship.
Yeah.
How are we going? What's working for you? What's not working for you? What's working for me? What's not working for me? I'm getting a bit bored. I'm getting a bit bored in the bedroom. I'm getting a bit bored that we're not going out more. I'm getting a bit bored that we haven't had a holiday for a while. Whatever it is, and partnered together, working together to solve whatever needs to be done.
Yeah.
To reignite and re-inspire the relationship.
Okay. The other side of it is when it's all over.
Well, one's preventative.
One's preventative.
And the next one is in CPR.
This is CPR, yeah.
What do you do for the man that's then? And the only thing that I can suggest...
Because you've been through it yourself, John.
Yeah. And the only thing I can suggest for a man who's in that other side is absolutely get support, whether it's through Lifeline, whether it's through Beyond Blue, whether it's, whatever counselling service you want to use. And you can also simply go and get the company of other men again.
Yeah.
The number of times I've sat in groups, gatherings, men's circles, retreats, whatever it is, and men talking about the pain of those experiences, the separation.
Yeah.
But when they are heard, when they realise that they're in the company of men who aren't going to judge them, who've possibly been through those experiences themselves and sometimes more than once, and they're not going to enable that man's behaviour. If there's something about that man's behaviour that caused that outcome, they're not going to enable him and say that's okay. They're going to call him accountable for that behaviour, but they're also going to support him and help him understand. And sometimes it's okay, I have to pick ourselves up, dust ourselves off, and go, what did I learn from that experience?
Yeah, that's right. I took the relationship for granted. Maybe usually that has been the case.
Mm-hmm.
I was just doing my job. I was maybe quite robotic as a guy. Robotic, you know, like I was just operating up here. I was doing the things that I thought were important, but I didn't know how to connect with my wife and my partner. And anyway, she's gone now. She won't come back. She's not coming back anytime soon. So now I've got to take stock of my life. If I even get into another relationship, I don't want to repeat what I've just done.
Exactly. And when I've spoken to men that are just out that side of, 3-6 months in the separation, they're never going to have another relationship.
Yes.
And I say,
I'm done with women.
And I say,
I'm done with partners.
Never say never.
Never
say never.
Yeah.
And there's a healing time. It's a journey. It's a process. I think the term I use is the inertia of love. Often what happens is...
The inertia of love.
Yeah, two people in a relationship, there's love there. One partner then starts to exit, and they start the grieving process.
Yeah.
And this man then comes home to an empty house. He still thinks he's loving, and he still has this inertia of love, but the person that he loves and his kids are probably no longer in his life.
Yeah, right.
But he's still got this inertia travelling forward, and it's now up to him to slow that down, take stock, and understand that he's now got to go through that grieving process that she'd been going through perhaps for years.
Yeah, right.
And that grieving process is a process, and it takes time.
And it takes time. Yeah.
It can take 2 to 3 years.
Yeah. And there's lots of support out there. The National Men's Line is there, and there's people there that will help. There's a friend of mine who's now done a lot of men's work, actually, and he said when his relationship broke up, he phoned what was then the men's helpline, and that was just run by people running around as volunteers doing this particular service. But he said he was in the fetal position because everything about his life that he thought he was doing to make things right didn't work, and he didn't know what to do. And he phoned the men's line, and he spoke to some guy who he didn't know, probably would never know at all, for 3 hours. And poured out his life, and this guy really just listened to him. And he said that was the change for him in terms of picking himself back up. But he got honest with himself. He reached out because he couldn't even get out of the house. At that point, he was so down on himself for what he perceived he should have done and didn't do, and all that.
And then depression can creep in.
And he was depressed.
And then self-medication through particularly alcohol, because it's easy to get access to, or other substances, and that just compounds the problem. And before you know it, you're not functioning at all.
Yeah.
And it's about stepping out. We've really got to get out and take that step to go get help. Firstly, admit that we have a problem and we can't make a change until we admit that, and then take that courageous step to go and get help. And that can be anonymous help. It could be picking up a phone for a helpline. Yeah. It could be going to an AA meeting. It could be going anywhere. It could be talking to a friend or a man, or going to a gathering or a group. Yeah. But anywhere where we can get the support that we need in order to do the behavioural change, because that's the most challenging part.
Yeah. Right. Thanks, John. Well, look, mate, thanks for your time and everything. And I really appreciate it. It's been terrific to connect up and hear from you. And
thanks for coming. I appreciate the invitation.
Yeah, well, it's terrific, and it's part of what we want to do with Cant to Can, is spread this kind of information and make a positive difference for as many people as we can. So if you find this useful, subscribe to the channel, and we'll have more of these, and maybe we'll have John on again about another issue. Who knows? There could be all kinds of things.
Book 2.
Book 2, exactly. Look forward to it.
Maybe next year, the way things are going.
Okay.
Appreciate that. Thank you.
Thanks. Pleasure. Thanks, John. Hi there. Look, thanks for watching this video, and if you've enjoyed what we're doing and what we're about here at Cant to Can, subscribe below, and you can be kept up to date with all the interesting things that we're doing to make people's lives better. Thank you.